My name is Jenny Harden. I am conducting this interview on behalf of Unity Hospice. Today we are interviewing Ralph Brune. The date is November 17th, 2015, and this interview is being conducted in Yorkville, Illinois. The purpose of this interview is to record the veteran experience of Ralph Brune for the Veterans History Project. Can you please tell me your full name?
Ralph Benedict Brune.
And what is your date of birth?
February 8th, 1921.
And what branch of service did you serve in?
The Army Air Corps.
And what was your rank?
Rank?
Yeah, what was your highest rank?
Tech Sergeant.
Tech Sergeant. And what war did you serve?
World War II.
So I want to get a little background history about you. Where were you born?
Walden, Illinois.
Okay. And what were the names of your parents?
What?
The names of your parents, your mom and dad.
Oh, my father's name was Frederick Otto Brune. And my mother's name was Christine M. Brune.
Okay. And what did they do for a living?
What?
What was their occupation?
Well, I worked at Caterpillar in Peoria after the war.
Okay. What did your dad do for a living?
What?
Do you remember what your dad did? What was your dad's job?
Well, he was had a number of different jobs.
Oh, okay. And your mom? What did your mom do?
Well, she was really.
That's okay. Did you have any brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I had one brother and one sister.
Okay. And did any of them join the military?
My brother was in the military.
Oh, okay. All right. And were you married? Did you have a wife? Were you married?
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you have any kids?
Two boys.
2 boys. Did either of them join the military?
The one, the oldest one was in the Navy.
Oh, okay.
The other one was not in the service.
Okay. All right. So tell me a little bit about what you were doing before you entered the military.
Well,
Were you in high school?
no, I didn't go to high school.
Okay.
I was
Were you working?
well after the war. I worked for Caterpillar
Oh,
in Peoria.
okay. Okay. And you said you served in the Air Corps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you enlist or were you drafted?
No, I enlisted.
You enlisted. Why did you choose the Air Corps?
At that time, that was the one thing that was open
Oh, okay.
to well, I tried the Navy and I tried the Marines, but they wouldn't take me, so I enlisted in the
Okay.
Army Air Corps.
Okay. And what did your mom think about you joining the military? What did your mom think about you joining the military?
Oh, she had to sign.
Oh, she had to sign. How old were you?
94.
How old were you when you joined the military?
20, 21. maybe.
Yeah.
No, it's 20, because she had a sign for me.
Oh, okay. All right. And do you remember your training? Do you remember basic training? When you first went off to the Air Corps, do you remember your training? Where did you go first?
Well, Jefferson Barracks in St. Louis, and then I went to Chinook Field in
That's okay.
Rantoul.
Oh, okay. Okay. Did you enjoy training?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What kind of things did you do? What did you learn?
Well, was airplane mechanic.
Oh, okay.
That's what I went to school in Rantoul to learn to be a mechanic,
Oh, okay. So that was your job. You were a mechanic?
airplane mechanic.
Mechanic. Very cool. Did you enjoy that job?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's neat. Do you remember any of your instructors during training? Any of your teachers? That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. Tell me a little bit about military life. What was it like to be in the military?
Well, I liked what I did, airplane mechanic.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nope, you're fine.
Airplane mechanic.
And where did you end up serving? You were World War II, correct?
Yeah.
So where did you end up getting stationed?
I was in a number of different places and ended up in England while the war was going on.
Okay. What are some memories that you have? What are some things that you remember about being in World War II? Maybe some stories you want to share.
Well, I was in England. I was a mechanic on B-17s, bombers,
Okay.
and during the World War II.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever were you ever in any kind of combat?
No.
No.
I was there during World War II and when they invaded France, but
Right.
I just stayed in England while during D-Day when they invaded France.
So did you witness any kind of casualties or destruction from World War II?
When they invaded France, I was just a mechanic on planes while they bombed Germany and
Right.
France. And
So you fixed the planes when they came back,
yeah,
right? Yeah. Did you ever see any of the planes were they damaged from being shot at or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They went over, bombed Germany when the Germans damaged the planes when they come over,
Right.
tried to shoot him down.
So you got to see some of the destruction. You got to see some of the planes that were damaged.
Yeah.
And yeah. What kind of friendships did you make while you were in the military?
Well, ones that were did the same thing I did, but
Right.
after I left the service, well, I never saw any of them.
You didn't see it. You didn't keep in touch with any of them after?
No.
No. And so when you were over in England, how did you keep in touch with your family back home?
By mail.
Mail. Yeah. Did you ever get any care packages with any kind of goodies in it or anything you requested from home? Or just letters? Yeah. And were you married at that time?
No.
No? Okay. All right. So, what was your thoughts about war back then?
Oh, it was just a job to do.
Yeah.
Service the airplanes.
Right. What kind of stuff did you do for fun? Maybe when you had a day off. What kind of stuff did you do for fun when you were in England?
Well, while we were in England, we got 2 days off every 20 days.
Oh, okay.
And we went into London on our leave.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, so you visited London. Visited London? Yeah. What did you think of that? What do you remember about that visit?
Well, we enjoyed the visit.
Yeah.
To London, although at that time the Germans were bombing London.
Right.
It was more dangerous in London than it was where our base was.
Right. Was that scary?
Well, never had any damage.
Right. So where did you travel anywhere else while you were over there?
After the war, we got a 7-day leave, and then I went up to Scotland.
Oh, okay.
And that was the only visit we had outside of going to London.
Right. What did you think of Scotland?
Oh, it was, we had 1 week up there, and enjoyed the visit up there.
Yeah.
Sightseeing.
That's neat. So you had some good time off to kind of get away from what was going on. Yeah. So tell me, what other memories do you have from being over in England? What kind of things did you see? Did you do? What are your thoughts about while you were there? Tell me what else.
Well, we did a lot of sightseeing in London. Then a week in Scotland, we were in Edinburgh, Scotland.
Okay.
And I enjoyed that visit.
Yeah. And what about other memories you have from the war, from being in the war? What did you experience?
Well, I was in, when I was going to s- mechanic school in Rantoul,
Right.
while I was there, that's when the war started.
Oh,
The
okay.
Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor,
Right.
and then, when I was in the service out in California, I used to go in Los Angeles for just on our leave.
Right.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah. So how did you feel when you found out that the war was over?
Well, we come back from overseas. I was in South Dakota. We were going to get training training on B-29s,
Yeah.
and that's when the Japanese surrendered.
Right.
And of course, I was discharged then from the service.
Right. So how long did you serve?
For a little over 4 years.
A little over 4 years. Okay. So once it was time for you to go home, how did you feel? Were you excited? Did you want to stay in the military? What were your thoughts?
No, I had enough time to be discharged, so I come back to Peoria.
Yeah. So what other memories do you have from serving in World War II?
Well, I liked what I did when I was in the service. As a mechanic on B-17s.
Oh, okay.
Well, I was a crew chief on the B-17s. I had two other fellows working for me as my helpers.
Right.
I was the crew chief on the planes.
So as a crew chief, you also flew in them then, correct?
No.
No, you just worked on them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Once in a while I flew in them, but I got airsick every time I flew. So.
Okay. So they kept you on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then at the end of the war, we flew back to the States, and I just as long as I was laying down, why I didn't get airsick, but we flew back to Iceland, and anyway, it took us 3 days to fly back, and I can't, Greenland. We landed in Greenland, and then in Iceland, and then the third day we landed in the States at Boston.
Yeah.
And from there, we got leave to go home.
Yeah. And what was that like, having some leave away? Were you relieved? You needed a break?
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you do on leave? Do you remember?
not,
No. So you served 4 years, right?
yeah.
And do you wish you could have stayed in longer, or were you ready to get out?
No, I was ready to get out.
Yeah. Was it hard transitioning back to being a civilian after serving in the war?
Well, I had a problem getting a job when I got out.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went, at first I worked on a farm. That's what I had done before I went into service.
So after you got out of the service, you went back to work on the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you do on the farm? What was your duties?
Just a hired man.
Okay.
And I just did that for the rest of the year, and then I went down to St. Louis to a mechanic school because they wouldn't recognize me for the time I.
Oh, so they didn't consider your time in service enough, so they made you go to school.
In order to go to work for an airline, why, I had to go to school for a year, almost a year.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's where I met my wife in St. Louis.
Okay.
And we, after I got out of the service, I couldn't get a job with an airline because they weren't hiring. Then.
Right.
So that's when I went up to Peoria and went to work for Caterpillar.
Oh, okay. Were you a mechanic for them then? Yeah. So I have a question. I want to know about when you came back home from war. Did you have a party? Was all your family there? What was it like coming back home?
Well, not really. My parents had separated by then, and my father wasn't around anywhere, so
Yeah.
I just stayed with my mother for a while.
Yeah.
My brother hadn't come home from the war yet, and so and he was disabled from the war. He was in the Pacific in the infantry, and anyway, he passed away shortly after that because he was disabled.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
And the only one, my sister was married, and she was just the only relative available, really.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, I stayed with my mother for a while, and then that was, I was not on real good terms with my sister, so but I lived with my mother for a while.
Yeah.
Then I went to St. Louis to go to that school
Right.
down there.
Did you make some good friends while you were in the military? You were in for quite a few years. Did you make some friends while you were in?
Well, none that I ever saw afterwards.
So you didn't keep in touch with anybody you served
No.
with? No. And so you went down to St. Louis and went to school, and that's where you met your wife?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell
Well-
me about her.
Well, we were married 64 years.
Aw, good for you. That's
And
great.
she come up and worked for Caterpillar too, and then when I retired, she did too, but she had switched jobs to work on a railroad in Peoria,
Okay.
but then when I retired, she retired too, and we moved to Florida for 24 years.
Yeah.
We lived in Florida. Then my son wanted us to move up here because,
To be closer to him?
well, I was in my 90s, so he thought I should be closer to them. They live in Naperville.
Oh, okay. Okay. Are you a member of any veteran organizations?
The VFW.
VFW? Yeah. Yep, that's neat. You enjoy being a member? Yeah. So you've told me a little bit about what you've done since separating from the military, and you got married and you had kids, and
Yeah.
so I want to reflect a little bit about your life. How do you think that being in the military affected your life?
Oh, it did me good.
Yeah.
I was pretty well happy in the Air Corps, but on the other hand, I was glad to leave when the war was over.
Yeah. What kind of life lessons did you learn? What kind of lessons did you learn from being in the military? What did it teach you?
I guess I liked the traveling around I did in the military.
Where was your favorite place that you saw? Or that you stayed?
I guess Bakersfield, California. I was there a year and a half.
Yeah. Was it the weather? You liked the weather out there?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And where was your least favorite place that you were stationed?
Well,
Where would you never go back again?
I guess the Tucson, Arizona was my least
Yeah.
favorite place.
Why is that? Was it hot?
Yeah, it well, like when we went to work, we worked 6 to 6. One week it was 6 to 6 at night, and the other was 6 to 6 in the daytime.
Right.
But it was hot in the daytime, but at night was really more.
Yeah. So how do you think that being in the military. How does that make you feel now about war?
Well, I was not in any danger during the war. But, like in England, there was no danger there. We,
But you knew what was going on
yeah,
other places, yeah.
yeah, we had a front row seat for D-Day there.
What was that like?
Well, we just saw the like the service people were there in when we were not in any danger in D-Day because we stayed in England all the time.
Right. So let me ask you this. What advice do you have for future generations? What would you say if your great-great-great-great-grandchild is watching this video right now? What advice would you give to them?
Well, I wouldn't have any particular advice for them.
Yeah. Would you encourage them to join the military?
Well, my older son, he was in the Navy, but the one that lives in Naperville, he was he didn't go in the service. So,
What are your thoughts about what's going on in the world today? How do you feel about it? With Iraq and Afghanistan and now Paris, what are your thoughts about all that?
Well, the youngest one, he was in the what do you call it?
Was he in the military?
No,
No.
he was in. He worked for the IRS, not do tax,
Okay.
and the other one, he had a number of jobs after he left the Navy. Now the younger one still works as he's retired from the IRS, but he's works on doing tax work.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And the older one, he had any number of jobs, but he's lives in a veterans home over in Indianapolis now.
Oh, all right. All right.
I very seldom see him because he doesn't make it over from Indianapolis that often.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to share? I know you got to get going. Is there anything else that you wanted to share? Any other stories you wanted to tell me about being in the war?
No.
No. Well, on behalf of Unity Hospice, I want to thank you not only for your service, but for doing this interview with me, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Brune.